What is up, everyone? We're back with another college sports talk. We got Cavi in studio tonight.
Hello, hello.
So we're going to get right into hockey. I think we did definitely better in this bracket than we did our March Madness brackets. I mean, college hockey, I feels like a little easier. Teams are a little bit more set. I only had one upset. I think you had another one that kind of,
Had a
messed your
couple
bracket.
upsets.
Yeah, a couple. But, after the first night of games, watching Notre Dame, how they played against North Dakota, and watching Minnesota State versus Harvard. I guess Harvard is the number 3 team in their bracket, so, it doesn't surprise me that they're a little bit better than what North Dakota is. But Notre Dame just looked good against North Dakota, and Minnesota State looked like they struggled against Harvard a little bit. And so I was a little nervous kind of when they got matched up. I'm like, oh, great, Caleb's going to be right because he had Notre Dame going on. Unfortunately, Minnesota State, for him took it 1-0, and so Minnesota State moved on. They're in the Frozen Four. Then we have West Michigan versus Northeastern, and West Michigan won that one and moved on to match up against Minnesota, who beat out Massachusetts. Minnesota pretty easily handled Western Michigan, which kind of was what I thought was going to happen, even though Western Michigan had the number 1 seed overall. Minnesota's just tough, and so Minnesota won 3-0 and to move in. So you got the interstate Minnesota versus Minnesota State rivalry coming up on April 7th. And that will be either 5 p.m. or 8:30. It doesn't say yet. I'm sure I could go online and look, but on the paper, it's one of those 2 times. Moving up to top, we got where my upset came is where Denver, who beat out UMass Lowell, which, watching that game, Lowell was doing well. I don't know if I remember right. And then Michigan Tech really just couldn't get anything rolling against Minnesota Duluth. So Minnesota Duluth versus Denver. I thought Minnesota Duluth, they were hot. I thought they were going to move on. Unfortunately, Denver did pull out the win 2-1 and to move on to the Frozen Four. Then we got our home state, Michigan, here versus American International, I think it was, or something like that. They easily handled them. And then Quinnipiac versus St. Cloud. Quinnipiac won. And then Michigan pretty easily handled Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac tried to make a little bit of a comeback. I think it finished 7-4. So high-scoring game all around, just kind of lack of defense. But Michigan just, I think, kind of played coast towards the end there and gave up a couple goals that shouldn't have. But so Michigan versus Denver, Minnesota versus Minnesota State. I still like my picks of Michigan versus Minnesota State. I think originally you had Michigan versus Minnesota.
Yeah, I have Michigan versus Minnesota, and I still think that's the case. I think Minnesota's going to win, and I think Michigan's still going to win it all.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just looking by far the best team in the – granted, they may have had the easier side in a way.
Yeah, I would say easier so far. I mean, this next matchup against Denver will be a fairly tough one.
Yeah.
And, this will be the toughest one they faced, at least in the tournament. We kind of said that, too. It's coming to this. It's either this game or it was going to be the final game before they really had a good opponent. So, looking at this, though, I like Michigan to move on to the finals. It's going to be close. I think Minnesota State's going to be woken up a little bit from the 1-0 win. And then Minnesota, I think, cruising through. I'm banking on them being like, oh, that was easy, And, Minnesota State just barely got a win. And so I'm banking on kind of something like that, being an in-state rivalry. Hopefully allow Minnesota State to kind of move on. But that'll be interesting. And then the final is April 9th. That'll be 8 p.m. ESPN 2 is where you can catch that. And, yeah, hopefully watch Michigan take it all.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll jump over then to college basketball, where that Final Four is set for
only one number 1 seed remaining.
And it's always like that, though.
I know. This year, I say it every year, I guess. It feels different. It feels like Gonzaga was a clear one.
Yeah, that would have been
Baylor,
the
Arizona.
one I would have thought it overall. I definitely did not see Arkansas knocking off Gonzaga. I would have thought more like Duke here.
I said last week, Gonzaga's been scaring me. I said that. I was like, every round they've played so far, I was like, if they're going to lose a game, it's going to be this one. And they did.
Yeah.
So.
Well, look, I knew So I took the under in this game, which did hit. Just because I knew Arkansas's defense was tough. Defensively, like, they're a pretty tough team. So I was kind of watching that and seeing what happened. And kind of, just turnovers for Gonzaga. Arkansas kind of put a little bit of pressure on them, and they turned the ball over, and so that helped. That's kind of where the game went there. I was surprised North Carolina. Well, no, actually, I was surprised that St. Peter's made it far to be matched up against North Carolina.
But, North Carolina just stomped them.
Yeah, they must have just had some steam,
they just ran out.
That good of competition going.
North Carolina is. We've been saying it since kind of our first podcast that if there's a team that's kind of sneaky, it's not that sneaky, but it's North Carolina, and
Kansas, that was kind of
expected, but not expected at like 30-some points, whatever they won by.
Yeah.
Miami was playing pretty solid.
Yeah, Miami was doing pretty good. I thought it was going to be closer than what it was. Yeah, 26 ended up being what Kansas won by. So Kansas is looking good. I expect them to knock off Villanova. Even Villanova just beat Houston. They knocked out Michigan as well. Also,
Villanova surprised me throughout this whole thing. I thought they were going to let most people down and kind of struggle.
Yeah,
and they're just they just take care of their business. So most games are close with them, but
and I heard a key player. I can't remember the name, so I don't want to say the name right now. But I heard one of the key players is out for them. So I feel like right now it's kind of easy to take Kansas. Kansas is coming off that stomp of a win, so I see Kansas moving on. And I really don't know who to pick between Duke and North Carolina.
I'm just North Carolina. If they can keep it, they're just so hot in all aspects of the game right now. Their defense is unbelievable. Their three-point shooting is insane. Their down low post playing is. Everything is just.
Yeah.
And they just seem like the team that's having the most fun with this, and the team that's stayed consistent throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. Now,
other than Kansas, maybe
Duke got the win early, I believe, at North Carolina. Later in the season, last game of regular season, North Carolina beat Duke at Duke. So, being middle ground in this one, and I would think, I just don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. It's also, I'm a little biased because I'm such a big North Carolina fan in general, and
I see a nice way towards Duke, actually.
Yeah, so
I think for Cinderella story of Coach K's last season, he's got to at least make it to the finals.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I still think North Carolina. Duke just kind of scares me. They just
so let's look at some
inconsistencies, and they played State tough. They could have lost that game.
We'll run through some stats here. Field goal percentage, Duke takes the cake on that, 48.9 versus 45.2. 3-pointer though, barely goes to Duke. They're pretty much split. 36.3 for North Carolina versus Duke is 36.8. They're pretty much even on that aspect. Free throws do go over to the Tar Heels at 77.4 versus 72.9. Rebounds, a little bit more rebounds for North Carolina over Duke. Offensive rebounds pretty much even. Defensive rebound, basically 1.3 over to North Carolina side. Higher assists, higher steals in blocks all go to Duke. Turnovers, Duke takes that. They're better at avoiding turnovers. Fouls a little bit. So I bet you the biggest thing that stands out is free throw percentage. So free throw is 77.4 to North Carolina versus Duke is 72.9. And they're both above 70%.
The great thing about March Madness is, everybody knows stats don't matter at all. So it's just kind of. I feel like Duke just has those couple players who are just really good, and North Carolina is more of a team as a whole. They don't have the star power. So take that as kind of you want. Some people would lean, the star power is going to overpower the team collectively, and some people are going to say, well, they could have an off night and North Carolina is going to win.
Arkansas is a tougher, more aggressive team, and that's who Duke just played. So they could be, I know they just had time off, but could they be a little bit more banged up, just a little bit more tired from playing an opponent like that, where North Carolina just played St. Peter's, which, they've had a great run in the tournament, but they're not as good.
I would say North Carolina's to get where they are has been easier, which they will ultimately hurt them, I think.
You think that's going to hurt them?
Yeah, because I think Duke's had a harder run, so
they're just a little bit more keyed in, a little bit more turned on.
And North Carolina, but the thing is, they've played each other twice already, so they know what to expect.
Yeah, they know what to expect between each other. I mean, I definitely think it's gonna be a good game at all.
Yeah, I go North Carolina though, still. So
I think I'm gonna take Duke. So I think I have a 1 versus 2 matchup with Duke versus Kansas. Do you think Kansas takes it all though? Or
I mean, Kansas is just on fire, and it's hard to have anybody beating them. But I mean, I'm still staying with North Carolina. I think they'll handle Villanova just fine, which they could surprise us. And I think if Duke does win, I think Duke wins. I think whoever wins between North Carolina and Duke wins it all. And it just seems like Kansas is just, I don't know, it's just been too easy for them. You know what I mean? Like, it's too easy.
I mean, they had their second.
It's just like Gonzaga last year. I mean, it was too easy the entire tournament. They were just rolling everybody, and then Baylor comes in and stomps them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Villanova could be really a test for them. But like I said, I believe that injury that I heard about, or at least a player that's not playing, or I didn't hear exactly. I just heard there's, take Kansas to move on because there's an injury or someone's out for them on Villanova's side. So I'm definitely looking at that. I definitely think I agree with you. Whoever wins between Duke and North Carolina is going to win it all. I don't see Kansas winning it. The big thing, like in the title of, putting this on, Blue Bloods, all 4 of Blue Bloods when's the last time a Blue Blood hasn't been in, like, the Final Four? I didn't look that up, but how...
They're just insane
how they always are there, at least a couple of them always seem to be there. I mean, technically, I believe Arizona is technically considered one, which I don't know. They got knocked out.
I don't think they are.
You don't think Arizona
UCLA is.
UCLA is.
Kentucky, Duke, Villanova, Kansas, and Duke. Or North Carolina.
Because I thought there was a couple that are not actually blue-colored teams that are actually considered.
I think it's just those 5, isn't it? Or 6?
What is it?
5.
I think 5. I think it used to be 5. There used to be the 5 Blue Bloods. I think they've kind of...
6. 6 with UCLA.
Oh, yeah.
So the 4 and now Kentucky and UCLA.
Yep. Which UCLA, of course, got knocked out by North Carolina. When did Kentucky lost early this year?
St. Peter's, yeah.
Yeah. They were that big upset with St. Peter's. So.
Yeah, I think North Carolina takes it all, if not Duke.
Yep. I can't disagree with you on that all. I just don't see that other side of the bracket. Definitely if it's as easy as what I'm thinking it's going to be for Kansas to get in, it might make them just a little bit more... I don't know. Normally, you want rest for your players, but I think in this tournament time, you want to be firing on all cylinders. So, if they're playing well, but have to take it easy or back off a little bit in the game, and I just don't see it being as good for them in the finals.
Yeah.
Let's see. What time are games? What's it say here? Saturday, Duke and North Carolina are at 8:49. And Kansas and Villanova start at 6:09. It doesn't say what channel they're on, but I'm sure you can find it. They're pretty much free to wherever you want to watch. So, and then final game will probably be Monday.
Around like 8, probably.
Yeah, that's typically about when they do it. That's 8 Eastern time. I know there's other time zones make it different. So. That's all I got. College baseball, have you been watching any of that?
I was just say,
Vanderbilt's looking pretty good.
Vanderbilt just lost 2 straight to South Carolina, though. So they swept them, and they moved from, like, number 1 to, like, number 9 just off those 2 losses. Texas, who was number 2, did you see the crazy back-to-back games that happened to them?
Didn't they play...
walk-off stealing home. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, so Texas lost to NC State, maybe?
Something like that.
State.
Oh, God.
Which is like not even a ranked team anyway. Not that really matters in baseball. But, yeah, Texas is like number 2. So the first day they have a stealing home walk-off win.
Yep.
And then the next day, walk-off grand slam.
Yep. I seen that. I seen the highlights on both of those. That's just like, that's got to be the shittiest luck ever.
Same guy, wasn't it?
Same pitcher?
No, the same guy that stole home is the one that hit the home run.
Maybe. I guess I didn't hear that or see that. But
I could be wrong there. But it was it was crazy. But yeah, so a couple bad losses for Vanderbilt and a couple bad losses for Texas.
Let's see. I don't know how updated this will be.
I don't know. It's kind of Michigan's been playing really well. I still don't think they're in the top 20. They've started conference play, and
So this was last updated March 27th. So I think they do it like every Sunday. Hey, Tennessee was number 1 at 23-1.
They're still playing well.
Arkansas is 18-4. Oregon State 17-5. Virginia 22-2. Florida State is 16-7. Oklahoma State 18-6. Texas Tech is 20-5. Texas is still inside the top 10 at being number 8 at 19-7. Vanderbilt number 9 at 19-4. Ole Miss is 16-7. Seems like whoever gets into that, because Ole Miss was up there, Vanderbilt was up there,
Texas was up there.
It's like whoever gets that number 1 all of a sudden seems like have a shitty week or something.
Which is kind of what happens in baseball.
Yeah,
I mean, especially college baseball. It's just kind of who's hot and who's not that week. But yeah, I just couldn't believe that Texas game. It was 2 games. It's just crazy.
The steal home was the surprising thing. Like, how does a pitcher not look up?
And it's just like nobody said anything. Like, the third baseman has to just be screaming that he has a big lead or something that he's about to take off. And the pitcher's just literally sitting there. And it's like,
and maybe
there's a righty pitcher. So, like, I mean, he was just, like, looking down like this. Like, he had it was just crazy how you can.
And it's like, maybe the third baseman's thinking, hey, he's on the bag, trying to be quiet, so the pitcher would throw him the ball.
Maybe.
But at some point, you've got to be hollering like, hey, he has a far enough lead to just throw it home for the safety net.
And the crazy thing is, he touched home plate before the pitcher even knew.
Yeah. Like, it was like basically the pitcher had looked up and he's like, why is he oh shit. Like,
just like
what happened?
Everybody's just not screaming. So, maybe they were. I don't know. I wasn't watching live. I just watched
I just watched the highlights too. I've been catching pretty much every highlights of all the ranked teams for the most part.
I just try watching Vanderbilt and Michigan here and there, but that's about it.
Oh, I was gonna look up scores, see if there's any good games today. No, baseball, like college baseball is actually fun. Like, they hit a lot of home runs typically. It's normally higher scoring. So it's kind of fun to watch college baseball. Watch Tigers win. Tennessee smoked Western Carolina 11-1. Let's see, is there any upsets? Ooh, TCU lost today. Or no, the 5th right now they're losing. So yeah, that's the only upset alert right now. Is they're top of the 5th. UTSA is up 7-3 to TCU. Let's see. Tomorrow's game, you got an Auburn versus LSU matchup. At 8 o'clock, you got Georgia versus Florida, 14 versus number 23, SEC, and same conference matchup. So that should be interesting. But all right, well, that's all I got this week. So we'll peace out till next time.
See ya.